Hello everybody, it is me, Everskatoozy, and today we're here talking about Isekai Cheat Magician episode 2. Okay, so basically the first 7 minutes of this episode was just exposition and just them teaching us about magic, and then we also learned about sorcery and stuff like that. So the beginning of the episode was them saying how apparently the main character has over 120,000 magical capacity, and I forgot what his magic strength was. I got very confused when they started mentioning magic capacity and magic strength. I was like, what the hell's the difference? They didn't even mention the difference. Maybe they did mention the difference. Maybe I need to like rewatch that part. It just seemed very odd to me. But then apparently, Rin's, the red-haired girl, apparently her magical capacity was what was it? Was it 37,000 or something like that, or was that her strength? Like, or was it 60 something? It was either 60 or 40 something. And apparently, she apparently after that explanation of like them being that, we saw them like sit down, and apparently they were explaining how magic works, and apparently magic is when you form a contract with spirits that are in the four attributes of like fire, wind, earth, and water. And then apparently you have to form a contract with them, and then after that you're able to use your powers and stuff like that, or you just well, so as you saw with Rin, she was just able to do it because she has it within her. So, and apparently the black-haired woman, she's just able to just see what attributes you have by just looking at you. So she was able to just determine that by looking at Rin, and then she looked over at the main character Taichi, and apparently he is unattributed. Apparently he just at first I thought that he was gonna be like, I thought that maybe he would like end up using magic that had to not do with it. And apparently he isn't a mage like Rin is. Apparently he's just a sorcerer, and apparently he's able to like have a mutual relationship with the spirit. And it's apparently when he makes a contract with the spirit, they listen to him, and then he has to listen to them or something like that. They have to have a mutual relationship or something like that. And then apparently he apparently when she looks at him, she can't tell what type of attributes he can use, and then she started saying how he's able to like destroy whole entire nations and stuff like that. That's how strong he'll be. That's just insane how he has the power to just destroy a whole entire like civilization. And then she even like mentions how he could be like the king of his own nation one day, and he could even like have ladies and have like all the money in the world. And he's just like, I don't really want to have that kind of stuff. And then the teacher's just like, that's boring. He just laughs it off. And then after that huge explanation, we have them start to train, and apparently, the black-haired girl is training Taichi, the main character, and apparently she's like saying how he needs to like materialize the magic in his fist in order to punch a giant tree off its like hinge and make it fall over, and he's having very very much difficulty doing it. And then we saw like these some mystical green mist going across his face twice, and then the second time we heard the girl voice again. At first, I didn't know what that was, but then after seeing the picture, like the poster for the series, I see a little leaf girl. So I'm assuming this little leaf girl is the one that's like talking to Taichi and saying good luck and stuff like that. I'm wondering when she's gonna show up to like maybe help out. Apparently they like want him to like do things on his own. I guess they are handing things out to the main character, even though that they basically are. He's just having difficulty right now. But apparently Rin isn't. Rin is able to just like she's apparently they have this in all series where like a main character from like the real world ends up going to fantasy world, and whenever when they imagine the magic in their head, they have, of course, for some reason they have a better understanding of it because of science, and then they have science in this world, and then she like imagines how fire would work with science, and she's able to like master a fire spell right in front of the elf girl. Because apparently the elf girl is apparently Rin's teacher, and she's teaching her about the four elements, teaching her how to be a mage, while the other one is teaching Taichi sorcery. So far, the first 7 episodes is pretty interesting. Really like where the story is going, and that explanation dump was definitely very needed. Even though that basically all these series are basically the same, I understood everything already because I've seen series like this multiple times. But yeah, I can't wait to see what happens in the middle half of this episode. Okay, so we saw a scene where we saw Rin and also the teacher, the elf girl, Mare. I'm just gonna say Mare. We saw them having like a little thing where Rin started like saying how she imagines like the flame correctly, she could have it as like a higher dosage. So then she goes from like a little small flame that like also Mare showed her, and then she's just like, if I make this look like sort of like gas, then I could make it like stronger. So then she like turns it into like a little like steaming blue flame that sort of looks like it's coming out of like a burner. And then like Marui's just like, whoa, what's going on? She like has like this blue flame. I've never seen this before, like in any book or anything that I've seen in this world. And then apparently we also saw a scene like later on where Mare and also the black haired girl are talking to each other, and they're like saying how they're really strange for being super powerful. And then the black haired girl says she has a suspicion about what's going on. So maybe she kind of knows that maybe they're from a different world, or really thinks that they're like strange people from a different place. That's probably what they're going through within their heads. But they think they end up like discussing to themselves that they want to get them like to be strong and to know how the world works within 3 weeks to a month in order for them to go out on their own and to not cause like trouble and stuff like that in order to have trouble like find them. So then they decided to train them, and then we saw they did a time skip. They did a time skip where they time skipped all the way to like, I guess 3 weeks later, where Rin is like a badass with magic, and she's able to use like all four elements. She's even able to use lightning, and she's like in a forest fighting off against these horned rabbits, like killing them and everything like that effortlessly. And she's just like discussing to herself without any qualms. And then we see the main character Taichi. He's just like fighting off against a giant wolf, and apparently he's able to like manifest the energy into his left hand and his right hand, and he's able to turn it into like a blue flame instead of looking like a white glow. And then he like just randomly just grabs like the wolf by its foot and then like pushes him away and then just grabs a knife and stabs it right in the heart and says, "I'm sorry." Like wow, dude is just like that. We also found out from the black haired lady that after like the part with Rin and also the blonde elf is that apparently she said to Taichi that apparently his fighting is gonna be has to be simple enough for him to just rush at enemies and punch them. And he's like, "Huh? Why?" And then so I'm really wondering what his special thing is because she also mentioned to him how his special magic as a unique magician is gonna like it needs to manifest into his meaning for fighting. So he needs to figure out like a meaning for fighting. So I'm really wondering what his special magic is going to be in the future because we did see sort of it in the first episode. We saw him with like this spatial like thing coming out of his hand when he was fighting off against enemies in a war. So maybe that's his energy. Maybe he can use different magic in different hands. We also saw her mention, and we also saw it in the opening song where he has like this energy throughout his whole entire body. So I was really wondering like what his powers are going to be in the future because right now they seem like and he really needs to see more of it because it's right now Rin seems super simple, but Taichi's I really want to know where that's going because that's like a mystery so far. We also saw a scene where after Rin was done showing Mare her like fire thing, she like walked over to Taichi to see how he was doing before he like put the energy inside his hand. So then she saw that he was doing really bad, so she tried to help him. And as she's like trying to help him, we saw like the voice appear in Taichi's head again, where he's like trying to focus. And then she like helps him out and tells him like how to do things, and tells him how he needs to like focus his energy from like his center of his body going all, and then he needs to guide it within his mind all the way to his hand. And then he was finally able to do it, and then like the girl voice in his head told him that she can't wait to see him in the future. So I wonder what the problem is right there. And then like before the 16-minute mark where I left off, we saw how apparently the princess didn't die from last episode. She's still in that room, and she's like praying up to a goddess statue, and she's like hoping that the person that she summoned, or I guess maybe she knows that it's two people, but she probably only thinks one. She's hoping that they survive and hopes that they have like a hopes that they're okay and stuff like that. And I guess that's a good thing for us to see, or else we would have thought that she was gone or something. But I guess, well, but I'm going to assume that she's a princess because of the opening song. But so far, the rest of the episode, pretty light, enlightening stuff, and I can't wait to find out what happens at the ending of this episode. I just watched the ending of this episode, and all I gotta say is just like, wow. So, so apparently they just got kicked out of their house because apparently the month went by, so they all got kicked out, and then we saw how the black haired girl and also the blonde elf told the main characters how apparently they knew that they were from a different world because of like the way that they talked and also the way that they have abnormal magical powers. So then she ended up saying how she like needed to like train them and stuff like that in order to like get them out into the world and not be able to get noticed as much as they would have if they would have just walked around in their otherworldly clothes. And apparently she knows that they're lost ones because we saw how last week's episode the main antagonist I guess in the shadows also called them lost ones, and he had like a thing to say about it. And a good thing that the black haired lady also knew about it. I'm just saying black haired lady and blonde haired lady because like I just can't remember their names, and like I just I'll remember it next week. I'll try to. I sort of remembered the blonde haired girl's name. Maybe I said the black haired girl's name instead, but who knows? I'm just trying my best. But then we saw how apparently she was talking about how like the only way to get summoned to this world is if you get randomly summoned, or if a high level sorcerer summons them. And then apparently they like said high level sorcerer, and then she said that the rarity of a space time like wizard or something of a space time sorcerer or magician in this world is very rare. So and then after that, Taichi chimes in and says how if it's so rare, then it's gonna be easy to find out who it is. And I gotta say that definitely is a very easy way. You only have like a limited amount of people to like go, but it's gonna be funny. I just know that one of the people that they ask is probably gonna end up being a bad guy and is probably gonna use them because that type of person would probably know about the lost ones and would try to use them and then like try to use them in a very bad way. And can't wait to see if they'll like end up finding the princess first, or if they'll find someone else. And then we also saw how this is the last night that they're going to stay at this lady's house. Then after that, they're going to go back to that town that they were at last week in the first episode. They're going to go back to Aspire, and they're going to like, I guess that they're already a part of the adventure guild there since they got trained by these people at first, and they're going to go back probably there because the character, like the guild leader from last week's episode, is still in the opening song. Same thing with like the receptionist lady. So I'm going to assume that they're going to be a big part in like Taichi and Rin's like adventuring career, because like next week's episode is called Beginner Adventurer, so we're going to see them going on some adventures in the next episode, which is going to be pretty interesting. And then I guess the story is going to pick up after that. And then after that, we saw a scene where Rin and Taichi were in the room together, and then like Taichi said that their goal for now is to become adventurers, earn money, and then like along the way they'll find the sorcerer, and then they'll get returned home. And like we saw how the black haired lady had like a weird look when Taichi said that he wants to return home. So I'm going to assume that you can't return, but you can summon people. After that, we saw a fist bump again between the two because Taichi also said that he's glad that Rin came with him to this world. Like he's glad that she jumped in and then came with him. And then after that, they fist bump, and then they said they agreed to like they agreed to this plan, and then saying that they'll try their hardest, stuff like that. And then after that, we saw a scene after that where Taichi is sitting in his room all alone, and he's like looking at his glowing hand, and he's just like, man, can this power actually destroy nations? And then we saw how the little girl just started laughing at him, like the girl voice in his head. I guess she's like laughing at like him asking that type of question, and then I guess like he's also like really wonder what type of ability he's gonna end up having, because like it's really weird seeing him in the opening song just like flying around and stuff like that, and like punching things and then breaking things. I'm really wondering what type of like, I guess like the black haired lady is a sorcerer and a magician, maybe, because she's able to like tell the main character how to do things. So I'm really wondering, like, can the main character also do magic, or is he only like, or is he only or is he only able to use sorcery? I'm really wondering if he like. I was almost thinking that maybe he was gonna try to do what Rin did this episode, but I guess not. And then after that, the episode ended. So I'm really wondering what's gonna happen with the series. Definitely intrigues me. Definitely gets me a lot more interested for each episode to come, because this episode was very like packed, and I really hated how when it showed Rin and Taichi teaming up against like during the training part in the middle. We saw like Rin and Taichi go up against the Obsidian Horse again, and then as they're about to fight it, it just skips over it, and then just goes to like them like talking at the black hair girl's house again. I'm just like, dude, I wanted to see that fight, but of course they're just like they're strong now, so we don't need to see that fight. Even though that would have been cool to see it for like at least like a split second, to see them beat it up in like a montage of like three shots, and then have it skip over to them like talking and eating food again. Uh, with that being said, if you enjoyed my thoughts and opinions on this episode, leave a like. If you didn't enjoy this whatsoever, leave a dislike. And yeah, I can't wait to review this next week and review whatever else I usually review. And yeah, bye. See you later.